I didn't want to be a producer or a mixer or a YouTuber, but here we are. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, I'm Cole Caparoon. Thank you for stopping by for another video. There are kind of two reasons why I see a lot of people fail when they're trying to start any business, but especially in a creative field like we are in. 2 decades ago, little over 2 decades ago, I was in a band and I thought I was going to be a rock star. That's literally what I thought. My ambitions when I was super young, teenager, I was going to be a motocross rider. That's freestyle and racing. That's what I was obsessed with. And that didn't work out. But I was playing guitar through my teens. And as I moved out of home, right as I turned 19, I joined a band almost immediately. And I almost immediately began making some money playing in bands, mostly cover stuff. But there was money involved, and I had never made a dime riding my dirt bike. And I was super passionate about this. I loved it. I loved playing guitar. I loved performing live. I really enjoyed being in a band, and I thought with every fiber of my being that I was gonna be a rock star. There was zero amount of my focus being placed on being a producer or a mixer or having a YouTube channel eventually. To be fair, YouTube didn't exist at this time. It literally wasn't a thing yet. But that's what I thought I was going to do. And we took it very, very seriously. I took it very, very seriously. I mean, I would stay in good shape so I could jump around on stage. I would practice my stage presence while I was playing guitar. I obviously was super focused on the guitar playing side of it, but I put as much effort into the songwriting side and the performance side as I did the actual playing side. But when it came time for us to record our first album, we were a bunch of broke kids and we couldn't afford it. The local studio wanted like $5 or $6 grand to record a full-length album at the time. And we didn't have $5 or $6 grand. But I worked at a music store. Some of you have heard this story before. I worked at a music store. They let me put some gear on a tab and make payments on it. I bought some recording equipment, some microphones. I made payments on that, and I did our first record myself. And it was just a means to an end. There was still zero passion to do that for anyone else or to do that for a living or take it seriously even outside of making our own record sound the best that it could. Now, my very first song that we released from that band got played on FM radio on a local show in Peoria, Illinois, where I'm from. And other bands heard it, and then other bands asked me to record them. And I was super broke back then, so it was just like, yeah, I can make a little bit of extra money. I was charging them basically nothing, but I can make a little bit of extra money doing this thing, recording other people, and that will help me pay off the gear. And so I can keep recording us and keep making us records so we can be rock stars. And so I'm several years into producing for other people and mixing for other people. And I still had absolutely zero ambition. It's not that I didn't enjoy it, but I had zero ambition or zero focus on it becoming the thing that I did rather than being in a band and touring. Now, one thing led to another, and the band thing never quite took off to the point where I wanted it to. It's hard when you have 5 other people in the band, 4 other people in the band, and you all have to be on the same page and have the same level of drive and the same willingness to go on the road. And then also, it's hard. It's hard to be a good enough band to be playing arena shows, to really, really make it. But the recording thing kind of came easier to me. And so fast forward, 6 years, 5, 6, 7 years, somewhere in that ballpark, I started being like, I really like this recording, this producing, this mixing thing. I'm good at it and I enjoy it. Let's lean into that a little bit harder. And I started leaning out of the band thing and leaning into the studio thing because the opportunity was there. And it was just, it felt like the door was opening. The band door was like always trying to close, and I was always having to kick that door in. Like every day I'd have to wake up and try to kick that door open. But the recording thing took a lot less effort, and I was more well paid for it than the original band stuff. And I became equally as passionate about it. Now, I mean, nowadays I'm far more passionate about it than I am about playing live. Now, there's one other example that I'd like to give, and that is about this YouTube channel. And I hope that these examples help you recognize what the right path for you is. That's what this video is about, how to recognize the path that you should be taking. This YouTube channel started because I was working really hard on growing my Instagram to get clients. I moved to Nashville. I'm like, I need to grow this Instagram to be in front of the maximum number of people so I can get clients to produce and to mix for. And in that growth, in that trajectory, I would get messages from artists constantly. And they would be the same like 8, 10, 12 questions over and over and over. How do I get a manager? How do I book a show? How much should I charge for this show? How much should I pay my producer? It was just literally like this exact same group of questions so many times. And I wanted to help people as much as I possibly could. But it became, as my Instagram got to 10 or 12,000 followers, these questions were coming in so much to the point where I couldn't possibly reply to everyone and give them all the information that I wanted to. So I just took my cell phone and I had a microphone set up, and I just put my cell phone up and recorded my voice into Pro Tools. And I was just filming these podcast style videos. They're still up if you scroll way back on the channel. These podcast style videos of like everything I think about how to get a manager or how to book a show or, all that kind of stuff. And this didn't work. This is back then, this was rough because the timing on the video, the time code on the video and the time code into the microphone were so different that my voice and the video would drift off from each other. So I bought a real camera, and I still had absolutely no ambition of really doing YouTube. This was literally just so when someone asked these questions, I could reply with a link that would give them a 45-minute batch of information to better answer their question and to better help them. Now, since I had this camera, I figured as I was moving out of my apartment home studio, I figured people should know about this, that you can make real music. I charted on Billboard in an apartment, and I figured people should know about this. You should know that this stuff is possible without having a big, huge studio. And so I filmed that video as I was getting ready to tear the studio down. I filmed that video like a quick studio tour of my home studio in an apartment. And that video kind of blew up. And then I figured I've got this camera kind of more for my own sake than anything else. I'm going to film building my entire studio. And that video blew up. And then I was like, maybe I should just keep making videos. Like less podcast style, let's just keep making videos. And so I just kept doing it. I had no ambition of being a YouTuber. I mean, I still don't really. Like, my main passion is creating music. I do really enjoy making videos though, but the opportunity presented itself. For whatever reason, what I was doing was resonating with enough people that it worked. And now it has become a significant part of what I do in my day-to-day work. It's a significant part of my business. But I never set out to be a YouTuber, just like I never set out to be a producer and a mixer. And so the reason why I wanted to tell you these stories is because there are kind of two reasons why I see a lot of people fail when they're trying to start any business, but especially in a creative field like we are in. And the first and biggest reason is that they won't just do it. They're waiting for some situation to come so that way they feel more comfortable. They're waiting to have just this piece of gear. They really need this piece of gear before they can start recording other people. Or they're waiting to have a room set up with acoustic treatment before they start making their music, because they really just need X before they start. That is by far the reason why I see most people fail at this. Same with the YouTube thing. I can't tell you how often people ask me about starting a YouTube channel, and they think that they just really need a good camera and some good lights. And I'm like, no, start with your cell phone. So that's the biggest reason why I see people fail. Whatever equipment you have, whatever camera you have, whatever microphones you have, whatever preamp and outboard gear you have, whatever little amount of equipment you have, just start right now. Don't wait at all for anything. Start and allow yourself to grow and allow yourself to build while you're on your journey. Now, the second reason why I see people fail is when people are too stubborn about what they want to happen or what they want to do. Now, this is a little bit more difficult because we have to counterbalance this with our passion, with what makes us happy, with what satisfies us creatively. But when these doors are opening, like if I was dead set on being a rock star and I never gave in to this producer mixer thing, then I would still be a super broke musician, probably, or maybe it would have happened eventually, but likely I would have been a super broke musician, still working a day job. It wouldn't have worked. But this other path opened for me, or it was working, and I was passionate about it, and I did really enjoy it, and I grew to enjoy it more than the playing out live thing. But if I hadn't recognized that door kind of opening, and I wouldn't have taken a few steps down that path to see what was going to happen, I would never be here. If this YouTube channel thing, if I hadn't have made that video about my apartment home studio, if I hadn't have made that video about my building my studio here, if I hadn't have taken a couple steps, just a couple steps down this path, then this thing that I have now would have never happened. So I think it's important to be true to yourself and to follow your passions and to not give up on your passions. However, I also think it's equally as important to pay attention to the doors that are opening for you. And if it's creatively fulfilling for you, and if it is something that you think will satisfy you while also being able to be a means to an end for you to pay your bills, I would encourage you to at least take a couple steps down that path and explore it. Because I didn't think I would end up here. If you would have asked me when I was 20, 22, maybe even 25, I would have never told you that this is where I was going to end up. But here we are, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. There are links down below for all the gear that I use and all the gear that I have, and those links go to Sweetwater. Sweetwater's sponsoring this video. Anytime you guys need any piece of gear of any kind, just jump on any one of my videos and click on any one of the links in the description below. And once you're on the site, you can purchase absolutely anything you need. It goes a long ways to help support this channel and help me keep making videos just like this. So thank you guys for using those links. Anytime you need to purchase anything, thank you, Sweetwater, for sponsoring this video. I hope this helped you. I hope this was inspiring to you. I hope that this encouraged you to make better choices so you can have a higher quality of life and a higher chance of success. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.